Guys and dolls. So, Freedom Dad here with Freedom Baby, and I'm babysitting, so I am. So, I'm loving it. I'm absolutely loving it, guys. Talking to Katie the other day, we were talking about this the baby and stuff, and my videos, and she was like, "Oh, I'm not liking lucky on the videos," and I'm like, "What's up?" And she's like, "Don't know." She says, "I just feel that protective," and I was like, "I understand," So, um, you know, when she feels a bit better, so she's only a baby, you know what I mean. But obviously, we are going to keep Lucky's life private, you know what I mean. And it's just because he's been on the journey with me. Then this was Lucky was part of my journey in it. You know what I mean? So yeah, I'll keep her real name private, obviously, and yeah, it's difficult because she's a big part of me. You know what I mean? And he's part of me, and yeah, but I totally get where Kitty's come from. Totally understand. I think all mothers would understand that. You know what I mean? So you need to forgive me if I'm not waving her in front of you like I really want to do. um, but yeah, I'm just a proud dad, and it's all good. But on a more serious note, I'm here to talk about Syria and what's been going on in the last few days. Need a coffee for this one. So I've just been doing like the research and stuff, and I've been picking up stuff. Like I say, I don't watch mainstream TV, but I rely on some sources on the internet that do watch it and report on it. I'm lucky that way. I mean, anything that they're saying or not saying, I normally pick it up from other YouTubers and other sources, and it's been very interesting. Because the thing about Syria is that something I've been following in a way, because I'll give you a wee bit of background. So when I went into prison, it was a year after 9/11. So it was when I got the 18 year, and the trade center. And from then on, during my sentence, we watched the Gulf War and everything that happened with Saddam Hussein and Gaddafi, Saddam Hussein, Iraq, and Gaddafi. And yeah, we watched it and thought, everything that the government was telling us was true, and there was weapons of mass destruction, and we really needed to get in there and get these, and that was Iraq. And as far as Libya was concerned, I'm not 100% sure, but I think he was wanting to bring the whole Africa together and stuff. And also, I think he might have been attacking the dollar in a way. I'm not 100% sure about it. You'd need to look into it yourself, but it's neither near nor there. We now know, with 20 odd years of watching what's going on, that, well, we knew straight away there was no weapons of mass destruction, and that's a rabbit hole to go down, guys. It really is. And I'll say one name, Dr. Kelly. Research Dr. Kelly. But it's we went into it's the Middle East, right? And this is what I need to make clear: the Middle East isn't the West, right? It's two different ways of life, two different cultures. It's different in so many ways, guys. Most of you know that. You know what I mean? But what we've got at the minute is our media seem to be pouring all their effort into how bad Assad was, and showing us the prisons, and digging through holes for secret prisons. I don't know why they're digging through holes, because surely they could find a way into it if there was a way into it. You know what I mean? Personally, I think they were looking for treasures. But all that being said, he was a bad man. There's no two ways about it. He was a bad man. But I'm going to say this again. It was the Middle East. Saddam Hussein was a bad man. Gaddafi, they were all bad men. But it was the Middle East. This is a long way away from home, And I don't expect anybody to understand it. It's just the way they are. We don't know anything that's happened over there. We don't know why they go down of the violence and the way they treat people. That psychologists and other people with bigger brains would need to look into that. But the point I'm trying to make is that is the way it is over there. It's been going on for years and years. We were just as bad, but back in the day when we were using the stretch and the things with stretched bodies, and you all know all the medieval torture stuff that we had. So it's not something that's just popped up, or like, oh, we've seen it. You know, our ancestors have lived it. And the point I'm trying to make, and I just want to make this one wee thing, they were making a big deal of showing that there was a press where they said they pressed bodies, and I've got no doubt that they did press bodies in this thing, you know what I mean? To get information, or just to torture or kill, whatever. Um, and that I noticed that it was like, you could see it, and it was quite a lot of dust on it. So that would tell me that they hadn't been used in an awful long time, you know what I mean? And it looked like they had to dig their way in, it looked like it was all blocked up. And I wouldn't be surprised if this was stuff that was like us, happened a long time ago. But I'm going to say it again, Assad was a bad man. Okay, so what has happened in Syria all of a sudden? Because I know, because of my interest in the region with Iraq and Libya, and then ISIS came from all that, right? Because this is what happened with Iraq and Libya. The result of that, the result was ISIS, right? ISIS, as you know, stands for Iraq, Syria, Islamic State, right? And we know the mayhem they caused. Everything went kaput. There was all different fractions. You got Wahhabis, Sunnis, Shiites, and Kurds. And this is basically what it's like in Syria right now, if you can imagine it. That it's like almost squarish sort of thing. Don't quote me on that. But up here is Turkey, you know what I mean? And you've got the Free Syrian Army have this bit, and then these rebels are basically Al Qaeda and ISIS. Now I can't get my head around why, because I know that the West has supported these ones, because there was only, I think the figures are about, now don't quote me, there's 15,000 of them and over hundreds of thousands of the Syrian army. Nothing made any sense at all, and it's starting to come out of it all now that Assad actually left before this. Russia moved all their big ships and all their big weapons all out of the country 2 days before this happened. Um, Everybody seemed to be ready to move. The Israelis were ready to move straight in to claim a bit of land. The Turks were ready, and with quite a lot of intelligence and other technical help that they give, these guys got a lot of help from a lot of places. Now, the person that took over is this guy, right? And I'm just going to put this picture up. What do you see? It's like, it's a bit strange, isn't it? You got to look in this now. We all know now the West is behind. Just the way everybody's reacting, how, because this is Biden. Remember, this isn't Trump. Right? You got to remember that, guys. This isn't Trump. This is Biden. This has been going on. This has been planned. Just because it just happened to this has been going on for months, right? So this is something that's been really well thought through, really well planned, and a lot of countries involved. Now, what's concerning me is how Assad left, and the way the statement was put out that um, he's hoping that the transition passes off peacefully. Like the words that he was using, you know what I mean? Because there's very few words being said. So the words that are being said, we really have to analyse them. And I knew straight away it was a way to Russia, because I knew Russia has been helping Assad for a long time. And there's so much involved. You see, there's oil fields in Syria. Now, the Americans have pretty much got the oil fields. They're over to the right, top right. So they are. So, so you get Turkey here. This is the right. And this is where the Kurds are. So it is. So the Kurds are like Muslims, like, as far as I'm aware, they're Muslims, and but they're no strict or anything like that. And I'm not the man to give you all the different Qurans and all the different things that they use, and why people follow it this way and why people follow it that way. You need to do your own research. But the Kurds I have always liked the Kurds. The Kurds done a lot when we were trying to get rid of ISIS, you know what I mean? And the Britain, America, Russia, everybody was having a go, like, to be honest with you. And the Kurds were there doing quite a lot of work, doing quite a lot of groundwork, helping the West, you know. And there's a story about the Kurds that so they treat their women equally. The Kurd women are as brutal and as ferocious as the men, believe you me. So they fight in the battlefield, and you know, I'd even say they'd be held a wee bit higher. You know, I'll go as far as to say the amount of respect that men have for the women and in the Kurdish community is second to none, guys, second to none. And it's whenever ISIS were fighting the Kurds, if they heard the women, if they knew there was women over there shooting at them, they would run away because they believe if they get killed by a woman, they won't go to wherever they go on the Virgins and all that. They don't get that, you know. So most of them would run away rather than risk getting shot. You know, and that's you can research that. Like everything I say, if I'm not 100% sure, guys, I'll tell you I'm not 100% sure. But on top of that, like I say, you've got lots of different branches of Muslims in Syria, and you got to imagine Northern Ireland, but blow it up. Now, Northern Ireland was a wee small conflict in comparison. The violence is nowhere near the comparison of the violence that the Islamic State and Al Qaeda inflict upon people. Now, it's a different ball game, you know what I mean? The most extreme things that was done in Northern Ireland would be kneecapping, stuff like that. The 50-50 back of the spine, and you 50-50 chance of walking, you know, and bombs, you know, and civilians, you know, that's horrific, you know, but they never thought about how to end different people, how different ways to end people, you know. Then that was never like terrorists that from Britain and Ireland would never go down that road and think like that. But you know, over there it's a different, like I say, it's a Middle East different ball game. You know what I mean? So yeah, we seen the brutality of ISIS with the way what they were doing, and they done more damage to other Muslims than they did to Christian Westerns or Americans, whatever you want, British, Canadians, all the different hostages that they took. Some quite famous, some not so famous, but they all ended up the same way. You know what I mean? And the thing about this new modern terrorism is that they video everything, as we've seen on October 6th with Hamas going in and doing horrific crimes in Israel, and they filmed everything. And it seems to be the common thread now of terrorism is to video the terrorism, you know. And the definition of terrorism is to terrorize, you know what I mean? Yeah, so basically, Northern Ireland started off with basically the UDA, UVF, the IRA. You know, you had the officials in the IRA, the provisionals, IRA, IRA, and then it went in. The Catholic side it went into the real IRA, the continuity IRA, the INLA. You know, the IPLO. You know, these are all serious organisations I'm calling out here. You know, they do not kid yourself. In the 80s and the 90s, these guys were highly rated as, you know, operators, and they you know, they were brutal. They were absolutely brutal to the loyalists and to the British security services. And then on the flip side of that, the Protestant side, you'll see the UDA, UVF, the YCV, the PAF, the Red Hand Commandos, you know, the branches of the UDA, the UFF, branches of the UVF, was the LVF, you know, like it's arms and legs everywhere. So understand that Northern Ireland is like that. That's the size of Northern Ireland compared to Syria. Okay, if I can sort of, it's about right. Maybe a bit more, you know, so big bit of ground. And it's more religiously divided, you know, and that would, it's a wee bit like all the organisations on one side, and one of the organisations got a bit bigger than the rest and started done a deal with, let's say, the Irish government, you know, and it was really a good deal and everything, you know what I mean? But I could never see a day where every single organisation would agree with that, and vice versa with the Catholic side. If it was the opposite way, not every, and we've seen that when other groups over there were calling ceasefires. UFF didn't call a ceasefire. The LVF didn't call a ceasefire, you know, and I believe there was dirty tricks used. You know what I mean? I do believe there was dirty tricks used. You know, because we've seen Johnny Adair, what happened to him? He got ousted by his own, and Billy Wright was unalived in prison by Crip Williams. You know, and that was the end of that. You know, quite convenient for the government. But like that's another video and that's another story. You know. But what I'm trying to say is not everybody is ever going to agree on one thing when you've got so many religious divisions, okay? And you got to understand the IRA and the Catholics, we're all Protestants and they're all Catholics. It's not like that over there, right? We both are Christians, but one's Protestants, one's Catholics, right? Over there, they're all Muslims, but there's Shiites, there's Sunni, you know, there's Wahhabi, there's Kurds, you know, there's probably more than I don't know, and they're not all going to agree together, just like over there didn't agree together, you know. So that tells me there's going to be problems, you know, just like Iraq and just like Libya. Now, if we look at this from a point of view that is logical and understand that we're just listening to what our media and our government are pumping out and wanting us to hear. But let's look at the world as we know it, as we see it. You know, Russia. Russia are not stupid. Russia's been playing this game for an awful long time, going back to the Cold War, you know. And there's always been division between Russia and the West, you know. So it's like Northern Ireland again, you know, with the police and paramilitaries. You know, there's always different paramilitaries coming up, different generations, and every generation thinks they know best. But the police have been doing it non-stop all their ways. You get me? There's been no change. They just pass on everything's documented. Everything. Loyalist Republicans can't really document anything. It's jailbait to put anything down. But the police are different. They pass on their experience, pass on their training. We did the same, but it's on a different level. So you know, it's the same sort of idea. Um, there's Russians, the Russians, I think, have played a very shrewd game here, along with Assad and Iran and Belarus and China. You know, there's things going on. Like I'm going to look into it a bit more, so I'm not going to talk about it, but something about like the dollar's under threat and stuff like that, and they've sort of brought out this sort of new currency, sort of new thing or something. I'm not 100% sure, guys. It could be a trading thing. It could be something to do with shares, stocks, oils. I don't know. But it's causing a problem to the West. It's undermining the dollar and it could cause problems with inflation and cause problems with economics and all that. And there's a lot of things going on. And there's a lot of people spending a lot of time looking here, there, and everywhere right now. And I think the West have thought they were going to be smart. I think that they have done this. They have used these people, these organizations, these terrorist organizations as puppets, just like they have before. They've toppled, they think they've toppled the government, whereas Assad left. Russia, are they as clever or are they as stupid? You know, I'll let you judge for that yourselves of your experience with Russia and what you think. So Russia managed to get all their stuff away. Next thing we know, the rebels have taken over. Okay, they can't say nothing else. Al Qaeda and ISIS have now taken over Syria, and straight away Israel started bombing all the arms dumps, and I mean like everything. You know, took out all their airplanes, took out every bit of military equipment Syria had is either at the bottom of the sea or burning. All the arms dumps. So that tells me for them to get so precise so quick that Assad has told Israel or Assad has let Israel find out. God knows. And so now the rebels have got no weapons at all. Now, straight away, everybody's going about, oh, he's got agents, he's got chemical weapons and all the rest of it. And yes, he does have, right? So what did Israel do? They bombed him, you know? So now we've got a situation where there is infrastructure in Syria that housed all sorts of really, really, really dangerous chemicals and weapons of probably mass destruction, has in chemical warfare. has probably now been released into the air, into the water, into the ground, and God knows what else will come from that, what animals will be affected, etc., etc. And Assad's safe. Russia didn't do what the West thought they were going to do and throw even more money, time, effort, and machines and military equipment and men into defending Syria along with Assad. They didn't do it. They pulled out. So why would they do that? Because we know how big Russia is. We know how much help they're getting. We know that they're in bed with is it South Korea, North Korea, and I was always get the two of them mixed up. The King Jong Un, the dodgy one, the bad one. Um, really friendly with him. We know he's friendly with China, Iran, and we know he's friendly with Belarus. You know what I mean? That's his best mate. So um, what could happen? What could really be going on? Okay, fair enough. Um, what I think is going to go. What I think is going to happen now is I think that there's going to be a situation created where there's going to be a mass immigration problem and a lot of people are going to leave. Now, Turkey has got a really strong border, so they made that border strong whenever a lot of fighters were coming from the west to go and help the Kurds because that was quite big. I actually made quite good friends with Kurdish fighters and a colonel. Maybe one day I'm going. It's through Facebook, so many conversations with him through translations and absolutely amazing guy and uh, yeah, Muslim, but we would send medical equipment, bandages and stuff like that, and try and help as much as we could, um, because they weren't getting any help. But at the start, they were on their own and stuff like that, and they were like they were in an enclave and they were fighting for their lives. You know what I mean? And the West wasn't really reporting it. It was just through. There was a lot of ex-servicemen, ex-army men who were going over and fighting and coming back and fighting, and they were putting Facebook stuff up and YouTube channels, and they were talking to people what was going on and what was needed. You know what I mean? Because everybody wanted to have a bit, could be involved in fighting against ISIS. You know what I mean? We were told if we didn't defeat ISIS there, that they would take over the world. Um, but yeah, it seems to be that our government seems to pick and choose when they're against these, what's the word, extremists. You know? um, and the only way we're going to see what's really going to happen is with time, and it's very easy for any commentators to come out like me coming out here and saying this, that, and the other, and this is what I think. This is, the only way we're going to know is with time, because it didn't take us too long to find out how much of a mess we made of Iraq and Libya, and it didn't take that long to realise we would probably been best leaving these leaders in place. Um, the good thing is I'm actually glad Assad got out, because I don't think I could have stomached another leader being hunted down and executed on the street, like what happened to Gaddafi. Saddam was lucky, what I mean? He ended up he just got hung, didn't he? But yeah, I think he went through a bit of brutality before they got him, because they done it legally. They put him through a court, you know what I mean? I believe it was in a legitimate court, so, but God knows what the Iraqis thought at the time, and that was the problem. Because of what we done, we created hatred, we created terrorists, and here we are, 2024, and look what's happening. So that's right now. So what's it going to be like in a couple of years when the Syrians come over? Because I've seen guys interviewing Syrians that are here now. We've got 50,000 Syrians in Britain, and I think there's 500,000 in Germany now. Don't quote me on that. Double check it, research it, but it's a big number in Germany. And quite a lot of people are jumping about asking them, because they're all out cheering and celebrating. But in amongst that cheering and celebrating, there's also fighting, because they're fighting amongst each other. Because, like I say, you've got different fractions, different paramilitary organisations, just like Northern Ireland. And, we're seeing that on the streets of England. We're seeing it in the streets of France. We're seeing it in the streets of Germany. They're fighting on the streets. When they're all coming out to celebrate, they're all fighting each other. And that's exactly what it's going to be like over there. Because remember, these guys over here don't have guns. They all have guns over there, and worse, So, yeah, I imagine nobody's going back. They've been asked, are you going to go back now? No, it's still not safe. It wasn't safe when Assad was in charge. It's not safe now. Um, you know, I don't understand, guys. I really don't understand. Everything's really, really confusing right now. And nobody is asking any questions. Nobody's questioning. Nobody who should be our government. Our government's cheering, going, yay, well done. And we're going, what? You were hunting these men down. There was like a multi-million-dollar award, and this guy who you put in charge, the Americans have still got like 20 million or 40 million dollar reward on his head, and he's just took over Syria. Nothing's making any sense, guys. And I'm just trying to let you know what I think what's going on. I think the West have tried to be clever here. They've tried to go in there to cause Russia to have two wars on two fronts to weaken them in Ukraine. And basically, like you've seen with the pictures I put up, they look like Zelensky and his character look awful. This awful same, I mean, I can imagine he's going to be jumping about in the green shirt and the khaki jeans, just like Zelensky does, And we can take the optics of that. You can take what you want, I mean, I just think it's very, very coincidental, that we seem to be people seem to be in charge of these countries that we are happy with. The West, we put a comedian in charge of Ukraine. We put a comedian in charge of Ukraine. That's like us putting Ricky Gervais in charge. I mean, you'd probably do a better job. That's not even a good example, right? But on all seriousness, if it kicks off over there the way I think it's going to kick off over there, there's going to be a push in immigration, and it's going to be like them coin machines in amusement arcades. We put the coin in, and it's two wee sliders, and it pushes the other coins down on the other one, and it slides, and you make lucky you get a couple of coins dropping out. It's going to be a bit like that. So they're going to go whether through Europe or through wherever, and then they're going to push into Europe, and then that's going to push further into Britain. And like I say, we've got guys coming in on lorries, we've got guys coming in vans, we've got guys coming in boats, and then we've got legal immigration on top of that that's still coming, just normal. Nothing's stopping. We've got a situation where we opened our doors to 50,000 Syrians because of Assad and them being so bad and brutal and all the rest of it. Assad's not there no longer. Has the British government, they're cheering the demise of Assad. They should also be cheering the return of 50,000 Syrian refugees. And that's only the ones that are here and have been on universal credit and been milking the system dry, because their names will be there. Everything they've done will be documented and recorded. There will be guys that's come over here and got jobs and integrated in society. It's no hard to work the two different types of people that are coming into this country out. I'm not saying deport everybody and everyone that's not from Britain. I'm saying deport everyone and anyone that's coming here and milking our system dry. They're going on universal credit, they're going on PIP, housing benefit, free NHS, and they are taking full advantage of everything. There's things like on universal credit where you can get extra help, if an unexpected cost. Now you're allowed so much of everything. A lot of people don't know that. They always say it's like a one-off payment, but most cases you're allowed 2, 3, 4 of them a day. Most people in the working class, like in the rough parts of the working class, know all this kind of thing. People have been brought up in benefits. We all know the benefit system, benefits cheats and benefits frauds. It's been going on in Britain for years. And in every community, there's always an expert in the community that knows every trick in the book. The thing is, with people coming into this country from other countries, they're going straight onto it, and they're being told every trick in the book by NGOs, they're being told everything that they're entitled to. Now, we have old people in this country that aren't even getting what they're entitled to because they don't know. If you don't ask, you don't get. That's the way our system works. And not only that, it is really, really difficult to get through to anything. I promise you guys. I don't have the patience. I don't claim anything. I get my basic, and that's it. I don't take the piss. You know what I mean? I don't put in for winter fuel thingies. I don't hit them. There's lots of things you can hit them for. Lots and lots of things you can hit them for. And it's just the way, that's working class talk. You know what I mean? Some people do, some people don't. But I can assure you that these guys are taking full advantage of our system. And they're the ones that need to go back to Syria. And it's not hard to work out. And this is the kind of thing the government need to be telling us and saying to us and reassuring us. It's a step in the right direction, at least. We do not want people to leave this country that are working hard, that have got families here, their kids are going to our schools, you know what I mean, and integrated into our communities. Never in a month of Sundays are we ever going to be that type of community or that type of country. Or obviously you get hateful people, and I always say that they're not hateful, they're just uneducated. They don't understand. They've got the wrong people giving them the wrong information, and they're not getting a leveled, honest, fair opinion of what's really going on. They're getting a one-sided extreme opinion, and whenever they get that kind of information in their head, they do lean to hate does boil up. And especially when you're dealing with childhood abuse and some of the things that's happened to some of the kids in this country, you know what I mean, it's horrific. So I do understand it. I'm not going to label everybody racist and far right just because I get a bit angry. You know what I mean? Because the government aren't explaining nothing to nobody. They're no telling anybody what's up, down, right, left. Everybody's trying to work things out. Our media are sitting like that, or they're telling us exactly what the government wants us to tell us. And it's really bad. The Southport thing is absolutely disgusting. What the government have done. And I imagine they're going to cover more up, and the way it's going with this and pushing the trial back and everything, it's just nonsense. There's a massive cover up. Something big's going on. And this is why they will not give up power, because as soon as anybody from our side gets in there, they're going to find out a lot of secrets. And yeah, the Manchester airport thing, disgusting. Absolutely disgusting. The British people have to sit and watch that. It's absolutely disgusting. I'm just going to say one thing about that as well before I go, guys. The people say that the cop was heavy-handed. Now, I don't know if the video's still up there, so I'm going to ask you to watch the video once more, but I'm going to ask you to watch it with this in mind. Now, when that alteration happened, right, there was a lot going on, but what you didn't notice was the perpetrator was reaching for the cop's gun, right? He was reaching for the cop. He was trying to get the cop's gun, or he looked at the cop, felt, yeah, that's clear, right? Now, whenever it all happened so fast and that guy went down, that guy could not see what way was he doing. He was down that way. He couldn't see that hand. That hand was down beside his right hand side. He could only see his right hand. The instinct and what they're trained to do is to do whatever they need to do to disorientate the perpetrator so they can't think, or, so boom, boot to the head, disorientates them, and then go for the gun, or at least find out if they've got the gun, check to see if you've got the gun, your second firearm, or whoever, So let's not just all jump on the bandwagon and go, yeah, it was a bit brutal, no matter what you say, it was a bit hard. Think about it, they're armed policemen. They're all armed in there. They're in a really high security place, In any other country, them guys would have been dropped. If that had been America, they would have been dropped and it would have been game over, A lot of other countries, it wouldn't have ended so well for them. We know that for a fact. And it just seems to be Britain. I don't see a problem with it myself, to be honest with you, because, like I say, I do believe that policeman didn't know whether he had got the gun, grabbed the gun, or had a gun. And that's the truth of it, guys. And you can ridicule me, or you can think I'm just sticking up for a copper or whatever. I've watched that video very, very closely, and that's what I think. I don't think it was red mist. Yes, he was witnessed another police officer getting her nose broke, but just because you would have seen red mist and I would have seen red mist, I don't think that's a fair representation to accuse this man of seeing red mist. I think he behaved in a very professional way, and he did what he had to do because he thought there was a firearm displaced from one of the police officers, and things could have escalated very, very badly. If you've got men doing that to police officers with their bare hands, what do you think they're going to do with a gun? So, guys, we bit all over the place there. It's just the way it came out. I'm just trying to make you understand what's going on in the world. It's all very, very strange. The way everything's happened. This all started happening around the same time that everybody was talking about that Greg guy that was on TV and apparently abusive or doing sexual innuendos to women. All over the news, all over every platform. Very strange, very, very strange. And while that was going on in Syria. Like I say, guys, this is where we're at today. We're left doing stuff like this, trying to work out the madness that's going on in this world right now. Um, Absolutely crazy what's going on in Ukraine. Should never have been a war. Should never have kept going. Should have been stopped a long time ago. An absolute atrocity that so many young men are now no longer here. So many kids are no longer got fathers on both sides. On both sides, and it's also sad for me being a Christian man that these were Christian men that have now no longer here. And you know, I love my heritage. I love my ancestors. I've got a family Bible that takes me back 4 generations. I know where I come from, and I'm quite proud of that. And it does break my heart that Christians in the world are disappearing, you know, and the demographic is changing everywhere. And it concerns me, because I love my religion, I love my church, and I love my God, you know. And I've never felt so under threat or so afraid, to be so open about being a Christian ever before in my life. Um, and that's very, very sad. Very, very sad, guys. But this is what I think. This is my opinion. This is for entertainment and educational purposes only. It's the opinion of a guy who was brought up in the streets of Northern Ireland, went through Kerr, spent half his life in prison, and had to deal with a lot of things most people don't have to deal with in life. It's just my opinion. I don't always get it right, and I'm not perfect. All my love, and God bless every single one of you.